Welcome to the Ben Daniel Podcast, where we're calling a spade. Great to be here with you guys today. Stephanie White does a interview with a radio down there in Indiana. Pretty good interview. The questions that were asked, reasonable questions. Not crazy amounts of pushback, but the questions were definitely valid questions that fans at least wanted to have asked. Some of these answers that Stephanie White gives makes me feel she's out of touch with what actual fans are thinking and feeling and experiencing and going through. She was asked, hey, the pushback that you received after sitting Caitlin Clark about an hour and a half before game timer, were you surprised by that pushback? She had the audacity to say yes. Great question, but she said yes. Wait, you were surprised that an hour and a half before game time, fans weren't happy about that? Meanwhile, 24 hours prior, the injury report was clean, nobody on it. 22 and a half hours later, now Caitlin Clark has a back injury. Nobody even reported that she didn't practice the day before. And you're surprised that fans had a problem with that? Interesting. Another part of this interview, maybe Stephanie White was talked to a little bit. Maybe Herb Simon came down from the executive office and just put his hand on her shoulder, threw some folders in front of her, some graphs in front of her, saying, hey, this needs to change here. Do you see this attendance? Yeah, this isn't too good. Do you see this fan engagement because of how we're going about things? Yeah, this isn't too good. Do you see these? Now, I'm all for you coaching, Stephanie, but I'm also all for my moolah. And some of the things that you're saying in these interviews has directly impacted my bottom line. Stephanie White coming out saying, Caitlin Clark's my number one offensive option. Is she? But is that going to help put fans' butts in the seats, letting them know that, all right, at least Caitlin Clark's the number one option? Yes. Now, the game against the Seattle Storm, the last 10 minutes against the Mystics, this most recent game last Friday, we're definitely headed in the right direction of Caitlin Clark doing her own thing and Stephanie White potentially laying back a little bit. I want to see that continue to be a routine. Let's get right into it, shall we? Like the video, hype the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below and subscribe to the channel. That would mean so much to me. John the Liquidator. John, salute. I'm ripping this from you, John. I'm taking it from you. I don't want to do the ads on YouTube, so I'm coming straight to you for this. Let's take a listen to what Stephanie White had to say about the injury report, shall we?
Minute scratch, if you will. You know, I went back and saw, and I think it was on May 9th, you had made comment almost foreshadowing, I don't mean that, but, you know, that, hey, there are certain areas in a player where there's going to be the occasional game like that, right? I mean, there are going to be tweaks that happen over the course of a season with the player. Were you surprised by the scrutiny that came with her missing a game?
I was. I mean, it happens all the time. And in fact, I think Kevin Durant was a late scratch for game one of the first round of the playoffs. So, you know.
All right, we're just gonna stop that right there. She was surprised, and then she uses Kevin Durant being a scratch for game one of the playoffs as an example to support her decision, to support the Indiana Fever decision. Well, I went back and took a look. The final game of the regular season, Kevin Durant was inactive. So leading into game one of the playoffs, fans already had an expectation, an idea in their mind that he might not be ready to go once game one of the playoffs start. So this isn't Kevin Durant who's played 82 straight games and then suddenly, oh, he's missing game one of the playoffs. No, this is a Kevin Durant that's played 78 games of the season and missed the final regular season game leading into the playoffs. So fans already had an idea or a guess that, he might or may not be ready to play game one in the playoffs. Not the best comparison right there.
I mean, it's the nature of sport. And I think those who haven't been an athlete, those who haven't been injured, those who haven't gone through the rigors of what it means to go through the process of being a professional athlete, let alone coming back from injury. I mean, there are things that flare up all the time. And so I was surprised, but, we talk to our players all the time about.
Now, everything she just stated there, that can be all fine and dandy, right? It could be all, we can grant that argument. Oh, well, we've never been pro athletes. We have no idea. Well, that doesn't address the issue that fans were frustrated that an hour and a half before game time, we were made aware that she was injured. It's not the issue that she has a lingering issue. It's the issue that you guys spent all last year lying about her injuries, only to repeat the same mistake this year. She wasn't participating in practice Tuesday prior to the game, not listed on the injury report. Then Wednesday, an hour and a half before game time, she's listed on the injury report out after fans already spent their money. It has nothing to do about her being banged up and things flaring up. It has everything to do with the shadiness surrounding the timeline of the injury. It has everything to do with surrounding, well, she wasn't listed on Tuesday, yet on Wednesday, an hour and a half before the game, she's a scratch after fans already spent their money. That's the issue, and her not understanding that, not realizing that, a little bit of disconnect and out of touch that I am not too much of a fan of. Let's take a listen to hear what she had to say about the number one option of the team.
Who, when you look at your offense, Stephanie White is my guest. She's the head coach of the Indiana Fever. They take on Golden State tomorrow night. Pregame at 9:30. The game is at 10 o'clock. I think I said the Fieldhouse. It's obviously on the road. But, Coach, when you look at your offense, and maybe it varies from play to play, but more often than not, who is your first offensive option?
Our first offensive option is usually Caitlin Clark, but it's in different ways.
No, she didn't.
Now, again, we'll grant the last 90 minutes we've seen of Caitlin Clark, right? The last 90 minutes, the Valkyrie game, the Seattle Storm game, and let's say the last 10 minutes of the Washington Mystics game. 90 minutes, right? The last 90 minutes, it sure has looked like either Stephanie White's made the decision, we're going to kind of do a little bit more of what you do. Caitlin Clark's kind of just said, I got to do what I'm going to do. And once we start winning games, looking better, coach is going to let me ease up. Or B, all of the statements in the offseason, all of the comments that she made in the offseason about this person being our number one, even Sophie Cunningham. Sophie Cunningham saying all of our plays are geared towards Kelsey Mitchell. Some of those comments might have come back to haunt Stephanie White and the Indiana Fever, and they're seeing it in their bottom line. Herb Simon says, when you do these interviews, you better put fans' concerns at ease. You better make them realize, this is still Caitlin Clark's team. You're going to want to come tune in. You're going to want to spend money because Caitlin Clark's going to put on a show. Because as you start speaking about all this different hub ball and Kelsey Mitchell ball and off ball, well, we're seeing it in the numbers. We're not really getting the turnout that we were accustomed to seeing her rookie season and early last season. Again, I want to continue to monitor how this offense continues to mesh, how they continue to gel, how they continue to operate. I'll grant the last 90 minutes looking a lot better than the first half of this early WNBA season. Now, the last part, friendly jab, but a jab nonetheless by the radio host.
I'm not trying to call you out on this. Stephanie White is my guest, the head coach of the Indiana Fever. Here you are, scoring champion, Indiana Miss Basketball, national champion, Purdue, you name it, right? And yet, Sunday was your very first Indianapolis 500. Now, I'm glad you went, and I'll give you, but that stuns me.
That is very shameful. Y'all didn't just hear everything he just named off. He named off hella shit, bro. And that was your first time. Why you come ish on Caitlin Day, bro?
First.
Damn, and I think John is actually onto something here. Your first Indy 500 is the one that Caitlin's there for? Huh. Your first Indy 500 is as a tag-along on Caitlin's big day. You had all this time, Miss Indiana, Indiana basketball, Purdue, yada, 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 yada. You used to be a coach, you even played for the team. And this is your first Indy 500? Very interesting. Very interesting. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like the video, hype the video, and subscribe to the channel. That would mean so much to me. Hit the notification bell while you're at it. Appreciate all of the support. See you next time, and as always, take it easy.